Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this unboxing of Marvel Champions, the card game, the hero pack, Nova. As you can see here, this is going to be the hero deck, which is going to be a deck for if you're just wanting to jump into the game and someone already owns it. You got a complete deck ready to play right here. And normally, and you can see on the back here, there is a big change that happened right here, because normally it's got the deck ready to go. That's nothing to change, but normally it comes with some extra cards and lets you know that there's some extra new cards. And there are extra new cards, but it's not for building like it is with all the other hero packs. But I notice it says a new modular set to add to your scenarios, which I think I kind of like a little bit more, as long as they don't get rid of just always giving you new cards. But that's always cool, just giving some new stuff for sure. And then, of course, your Nemesis, which in this case is Warbringer. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside of this. As you can see here, there is a, or it might be hard to tell, but there is a little sticker seal here. I've already cut it. Let you know if it's already been tampered with or not. So you're going to open this up. It's going to have the pack, which is going to have your deck and the new cards. And then you're going to have underneath this flap the little rule book, which is going to show you inside of it any new rules that are here. It's going to let you know what type of deck this is out of the 4, which in this case it is aggression. And then the credits. And then of course it's going to give you a little poster, which is just the same thing that's on the front. Alright, let's check out what's inside of this. And I'm not going to go over every single card, but I'll at least go over the ones that I know are new, or that I recognize as new. So I may even go over ones that I just for some reason didn't realize. But as we see here, we got Nova here. Here's your hero card, his hero side for your character. He's got a 1 thwart, 1 attack, and a 2 defense. He has a response ability, which is after you use one of Nova's basic powers, the thwart, attack, or defend, you get the ready Supernova Helmet, which I'm assuming is something that's going to be inside of his deck. And then we have Sam Alexander as his alter ego with a 3 recovery. He has an alter ego action that you can spend 1 resource of any type to search your deck and discard pile for the Supernova Helmet, add it to your hand, put it into play instead if you paid for this ability using a wild resource. Starting hand size 6, hit points 10, and I'm sure it's 5. Hand size, hit points 10 on the other side. Alright, so next we should have, and it does say 1 through 15. These 15 cards are going to be the cards that have to be in your deck no matter what if you're playing Nova. So as you can see, and you can even tell them because they're down here and they show Nova here in the bottom. We got Miss Marvel here. It's the Kamala Khan. 3 cost, 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 1 attack with 1 consequence star each. As a hero response, after you play an event, exhaust Miss Marvel and deal 1 damage to her and return that event to your hand. We have his force field projection event here for 1. As a hero interrupt, when a friendly character would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent 3 of that damage. If you pay for this card using a wild resource, deal 3 damage to an enemy. So I got a feeling, and got 2 of those. Starting to sound like you definitely want to make sure you have some wild resource stuff in here. We have light speed flight for 2. Double the number of wild resources generated while paying for this card. And then hero action thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. So if you're paying for the wild resource, you're probably just going to need 1. And we have 2, 3 light speed flights. Then we have pot shot, 2 for this event. Double the number of resources, so same as the other one. This one's probably going to be his damage one. Yep, hero action attack, deal damage. So probably 3 of these also. Yep. And then we have Unleash Nova Force for 1 event. Max 1 per round. Hero action until the end of the round. Each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, ready Nova, and draw 1 card. 2 of those. Then we have a resource in his deck. Connection to the world mind. Connection to the world mind does not count towards your hand size. That's different. And it is a wild resource. And they give you 2 of those. Then we have Jesse Alexander for 2. And it's a support, because all these others have been events other than the ally. And now we have the resource. Now we have a support. Alter Ego action. Exhaust Jesse Alexander. Shuffle 1 copy of Connection to the World Mind from your discard pile into your deck and then draw a card. Pretty cool. Let you get these resources back. And then the last card that is unique, or that is specific, character specific, is an upgrade, which is the Supernova Helmet for 1. Nova gains the aerial trait, and as a hero resource, exhaust Supernova Helmet to generate a wild resource. Definitely lets you trigger all these other wilds. Alright, so next we knew it was going to be aggression because we saw it in the rules. It could be one of those 4 types if you're new to this, because it's going to be aggression, justice, leadership, or protection. And they usually always give you a new ally right on the top here. And I actually think a lot of the times, not saying the others are bad, but usually the aggression allies are pretty good. So let's take a look at this one. But usually this is going to be a new card. It is the Locust, Fernanda Rodriguez. Costs 2 to get 2 hit points, a 1 thwart, 1 attack, but she takes 2 consequence stars to thwart. And it is play only if your identity has the champion trait, which I didn't notice, but I didn't mention it, but he does have the champion trait in hero form, civilian in alter ego form. And then hero response, after the Locust enters play, add 1 aggression event from your discard pile to your hand. So let you cycle one of those big attacks back down. And then this is not a new card, this is actually an old one. Chase them down. 0. So yeah, not really going to talk about that one because it is an old one. Pitchback. Looks familiar, but I might just be thinking the artwork. I don't remember the name. So 1. As an event, play only if your identity has the aerial trait. Hero response. Attack. After your hero attacks, deal 4 damage to an enemy. And there's 3 of those. No quarter. 2. Event. Requirement. So I'm pretty sure this is new because we've seen this only with the last expansion, where it requires that you have to pay at least 1 red or 1 strength resource, or it might be one of the fist resources like this down here. Hero action. Attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. For each point of excess damage dealt to that enemy by this attack, discard the top card of your deck and add each aggression card discarded this way to your hand. Seems pretty good. And sorry, I know this is mental, but it may not even be that. Now I'm second guessing myself. I do play Legendary, and sometimes the terminology gets me a little crossed. But 1 by 1, 1. Cost event, hero action, deal 2 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats the enemy, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So there's another one that does 2 and 2. So this is just another way you can have the same card and just trigger it in some other way. Power of Aggression is not a new card. It is an oldie, but it was the first one I thought of when it was saying wild resources, because normally, and I know I said I wasn't going to really talk about old cards, but I thought about this instantly because normally this counts a double resource when paying for an aggression card, but all of his other cards were not aggression cards. So I thought of these instantly, like that's kind of a neat trigger that makes these, I mean, they were already kind of viable in the deck, but even more viable in this deck. And you can only have 2 of those, so they give you 2 of those. Fluid Motion, a 1 cost upgrade. Hero response, after you play an attack event, exhaust this card. Your hero gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. And there's 3 of those. Hone Technique costs 3 for this upgrade. Requirement has to be 2 of the mental resource, max 1 per player. Interrupt when you play an aggression attack event. If you paid for that event using a mental resource, increase the amount of damage that event deals by its printed cost. And 3 of those. And then next we get us a new ally that is a basic, which means it can go into any deck, even if you don't keep it as aggression. It is a 3 cost, 3 hit points. Does 2 thwart or 2 attack, but it does take 2 consequence damage. Play only if your identity has the champion or genius trait. As a response, after you play Moon Girl from your hand, draw 1 card for each mental resource used to pay for her. And then we have a new resource, Everyday Hero. Is basic. While your identity has a civilian trait, this card can be spent for any player that gains the text. For any player and gains the text response. After you spend this card for a player, heal 1 damage from that player's identity. I can think of a few cards, a few characters right off the top of my head. Well, I know there are several characters, I should say, that are civilian. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. I want to say one of them is... no, his might be Soldier, actually. I wanted to say I thought War Machine might be one, but either way, new resource that might be usable in some other decks. I mean, I can think of just the ones that are civilian using this because it's still just a resource and it can heal you. So, Champion's Mobile Bunker for 2. It's a support. Hero action, exhaust Champion's Mobile Bunker. Choose an identity with the champion trait. The player who controls that identity may draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards from their hand. I just realized something on this. Sorry. It made me go back because my brain just caught on. That this actually, if you have the civilian trait, lets you use it for other players. That's pretty cool, actually. Alright, so that would be your deck. So if you did not own the game and you just wanted to play Nova because you like Nova and someone else already owns the base game, you could just shuffle that up. There's your hero character, and here's your deck, and it is good to go and ready to play. And we will do a playthrough where I will play against Rhino with this deck, unchanged, and see how it holds up and fares up. The next cards are going to be, every character has an obligation. I only know of one character, which is Scarlet Witch, which has 2 obligations. But this is going to shuffle into the villain deck or the encounter deck. And it's just an obligation that Nova player will have to take care of whenever it gets drawn. So hence, give to Sam Alexander player. If it gets drawn during the encounter step, then Sam Alexander will have to take care of this. While this card is in play, Supernova Helmet cannot ready. As an alter ego action, exhaust Sam Alexander to remove this obligation from the game. And then next is going to be 5 cards, which will be his Nemesis cards. The first one's usually the side scheme that will come into play if Shadows of the Past is hit. And I think I found another way that it could put your Nemesis into play. But yeah, so Bring the War is his side scheme, and then his minion is Warbringer. And then these cards will shuffle into the Nemesis deck, or the encounter deck, if that card happens. And here it is, War Delivery. It is a Treachery. And there's 2 of those. And the war's been brought with just 1 of those. So that's everything you would have to have in order to just play now at this point. And let you know, stop. The remaining cards are not part of the Nova pre-built deck. It lets you know all the stuff, like that was all the pre-built deck. There's a deck list on the reverse side. And it does say there will be some custom cards behind this still. So, and there's the Nova deck if you wanted to rebuild it because you changed it and then decide you want to go back to it. So we are seeing some new cards here. Like in the other previous hero decks, you would see these would all be new cards that typically cater more to that character, but then if you're just giving you more cards for the expansion also. One, so you could build into the other forms like Justice, or just to give you some more cards. We got Yaw and Roll. 1, play only if your identity has the aerial trait. Hero response, after your hero thwarts, remove 3 threat from a scheme. And we have 3 of those. Then we have a new protection card, Height Advantage. 1, upgrade, while your identity has the aerial trait, reduce the amount of damage you take from each enemy attack by 1. When your turn begins, discard this card. I know someone who plays a Protection Thor. I guarantee this will probably go into their deck. But there's 3 of those. And then now we see what is new, because normally it would just be a bunch of new cards for building, like new hero cards to build to your deck. But we're seeing a new villain, or not really villain, but a modular set that can be mixed in as like a side scheme or side thing with the main villain and his scenario. And it is called Armadillo. And as you can see here, it's got a side scheme, Armored Assault. And then we have Armadillo. So Armadillo could just show up. And man, 8 hit points. And sorry, I know I'm not going through over all this. I guess I should have. Like the Armored Assault here, each enemy with a tough status card gets +3 attack. Makes you want to definitely knock those tough status cards off immediately or get rid of this. And then we got Armadillo here. He's going to get 8 hit points, 1 scheme, and something special, and 2 attack and something special. And we'll see what that is down here. When he comes into play, he gets toughness. When he boosts, it's going to boost 3. And Armadillo can have any number of tough status cards, so he can actually build up multiple tough status cards. I don't remember what playthrough I was doing, but I remember saying that as I was doing the playthrough, like I could see in the future them allowing multiple stuns or multiple of the status cards to be able to be added to things. And now we're seeing it. And we have a forced response. It was because of something that was worded. It made me think it got rid of multiple statuses. And I was like, well, the odds that I have someone who are... it was something that made me think you could get rid of multiple statuses. And I was like, well, the odds of you being multiple statused up is kind of weird. So that made me think that this was coming. But anyways, forced response. After Armadillo activates against you, give him a tough status card. So every time he schemes or attacks, he's going to get another tough status card. That, stacked on this, can get real annoying. Rollin'. An attachment that'll go on him, they'll give him +2 attack. Attached to Armadillo. If Armadillo is not in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Armadillo and put him into play, engaged with you, and attach this card to him. While Armadillo has a tough status card, characters cannot defend against his attacks. Oh man, this already sounds like it's getting to become a annoying character. Tough and Tumble, a treachery. If you're an alter ego form, each enemy with a tough status card schemes. If no enemy activated this way, gains surge, which means you'll draw another card. When revealed, hero, each enemy with a tough status card attacks you. If no enemy activated this way, this card gains surge. And it has 1 boost icon. And then we have Tough It Out. It is a treachery. When revealed, give Armadillo and the villain each a tough status card. If 1 or fewer tough status cards were given this way, this card gains surge. No boost. And then the last one, because it did say 6, there were going to be 6 cards in this, is just another one of the Tough It Outs. Well, all right. And you know what? Now that I realize that they did this, I'm going to make sure when I play this with Rhino, this is the one I'm going to mix in. Make Rhino real annoying, but yeah, I actually like that, especially with the way I do those playthroughs, where I'm going to play Nova, which will be tomorrow, and I'll try to get that up as fast as possible. But I'll play Nova unchanged using this deck, and I'll mix in this with Rhino, and we'll see what happens there. So Well, with that, thank you for watching and have a great day.